This is The Gorge, a podcast where my friend Sara and I gorge ourselves on overanalyzing a game or game-related topic. The Gorge is brought to you by our Patreon account. You can find it at patreon.com/thegorgepodcast. And Sara, what are we talking about this week?
This week we're talking about that indie darling, the game everybody's playing on stream and screaming about right now. You know, that game that's about climbing a mountain.
Oh!
It's super, super hard.
Right. So, yeah, this week we are talking about Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy.
No, actually, we're not. We're actually talking about Celeste.
Oh!
The other insanely hard mountain climbing simulator. I know.
Yeah.
There's two of them, and that's weird.
One is surprisingly more encouraging and, friendly than the other.
Yeah.
It's not quite so condescending than the other.
Yeah, Bennett Foddy can eat a dick. And I say that as somebody who, I haven't played Getting Over It. I enjoy watching people play Getting Over It. I don't know. It's kind of, soothing. But at the same time, Bennett Foddy can eat a dick. But no, we're actually playing the good one. The one that, I don't know, I don't know about how zen I feel. 80% of the time I feel pretty zen playing Celeste.
Oh, it's Celeste is one of those games where, I wasn't expecting to really enjoy it as much as I ended up enjoying it.
Yeah, I started playing it on a whim. I think I was watching Joe Anderson's stream. He was streaming it, and he got about 5 screens in. And at first I was like, well, I'll just have this on as background noise, while I work. And then I watched a couple of screens, and I was like, you know what? This actually looks pretty good. I think I'm going to check it out.
Yeah.
And I never expected to talk about it on the podcast. I never expected we'd be, doing an indie week about it. But I like it a lot more than I anticipated.
I used to, a while ago I did try playing, I don't know what you'd call these, Twitch platform? There's gotta be a name for them. These really
I think the term could be Twitch platformer.
Yeah, and not Twitch the streaming channel, although certainly, you see that, but, that requiring, instant timing and, pixel perfect jumping and, like Super Meat Boy or, I Want to Be the Guy, or I guess Kaizo is the name you'd use for these?
Yeah.
The Kaizo Mario games?
Yeah, Kaizo is a good, Twitch platformers, Kaizos, things like that. Just, I Want to Be the Guy and Meat Boy are more memorization based than Celeste is, but they're all kind of in the same category together,
yeah,
I
feel like and this is kind of in that same league though, and I used to play I Want to Be the Guy, and I used to play Super Meat Boy, and I never got very far in them because they're very hard.
Right.
And I gave up and got frustrated, but, Celeste is different because I got through it, and I think it's part of the reason is, we mentioned earlier, it's very encouraging and, comforting to play, and, you never feel, so frustrated with it that you want to delete the game off of your device.
Yeah. Unless you're playing the B-side.
See, the B-sides is where you get your Super Meat Boy, anger from.
Yeah, for sure. The B-sides is the closest. I died 100 times on a single screen on the B-sides, and that was when I was like, you know what? Nope, I don't think the B-sides are for me. Maybe someday when I'm in just an incredible state of mind, but not right now. But the rest of Celeste is, even when it's really hard, I don't know. It just kind of has a weirdly soothing quality to it,
Yeah, and I think part of that is, it's got great music that's very upbeat and charming, and it's also got really great sound effects, even when you do die, that little popping explosion that you make.
Yeah, the little puppy chimey sound is really great. Yeah.
It's got some fucking beautiful pixel art, of course.
Yes, of course.
It's an indie game that its kind of default has to have really charming pixel art.
Right, exactly. And it definitely has it. Some of the levels are just, they're just beautiful, you know? You're just like, wow. I think the first time Celeste really had me going like, oh, wow, is during the ruins, not the city ruins, the ones before the hotel, the castle, I think is what they're like ruins of the castle. It's where you meet the doppelganger.
Right.
And when you hit the button and break the mirror, and it's suddenly like all of those stones become things you can like fly through, and the music picks up, you know?
Yeah.
That moment was like the first time Celeste made me go like, oh, wow. And after that, I was just hooked. I was like, oh my god, no, I have to play this game. I have to talk about it on the podcast.
Right.
It's just so like satisfying, you know?
You know, it's Celeste is one of those games where it's like, it gets like kind of like Undertale or like other hard games where like it gets like the Twitch streamer appeal, where it's like, I'm gonna play the hard game on my thing, but like it kind of like misses the overall point of playing this game.
Yeah,
in a way, like it's kind of meant for like a more cozy personal experience to play it.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, it's everything about it is just like it's very zen, and you can really just like turn off the rest of the world while you're playing it, really.
And make no mistake, that doesn't mean it's like a lay back and chill game like Journey or
no,
anything like that. Celeste is what I called, I think I texted you and I was like, Celeste is what I call a sit-up game. It's one of those games where after a certain point you physically cannot lie down to play the game because you feel like if I'm sitting up, maybe I'll be better at it.
Yeah, you can't like slump down in your chair or anything. You can't like lean back. You're like, you gotta be, it's the screen and you.
Yeah, you are sitting up straight, your hands are like directly in front of you, you are locked onto that screen, and like you're gripping the controller until your hands hurt. And it's just you and Celeste. So it's Zen in the like the Zen meditation, like very intensely focused on one activity kind of Zen. Not exactly like the chill out and just enjoy the, you know, ride the waves like Unravel or Journey can be. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know, it still has like the weird, I mean, you get all those little rushes of adrenaline when you clear a stage, you know, when you finally, when you hit that little safe point, you just go like, oh, yes, I did it! And it's like a great feeling, you know?
Well, there's one thing I really like about it is that, for one thing, like, it saves on every screen you're on. So, like, if you do have to stop for any moment, like, you pick up right where you left off, you know?
Yeah.
The other thing is, I get that rush of adrenaline more when I finally, like, pass the hard part. And then I'm like, oh, I have like 2 or 3 jumps to make still.
Yeah.
Oh
no. Yeah. Yeah. That feeling of dread on a screen where you've caught past the hard part, like the part that's been killing you over and over again, and then you realize there's still more and you don't know what comes next, and you're like, ah.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's still like, I don't know, it was fun. Like, most of it is fun. We'll talk about the one unfun part of Celeste in just a second. Yeah. But right now is glowing. I mean, there is one level in Celeste that genuinely is, like, bad. But, it's like an actual bad level. But that does not... What we say about the bad level of Celeste does not negate the fact that Celeste is absolutely worth your $20. Like,
what's really cool about it is that, like, every level has, like, its own little, like, platforming gimmick that doesn't show up in any other level.
Yeah, it's all every level has its own little fun quirk, and so you can kind of find like a level you enjoy more than others because you just kind of like that quirk more. For me, it was definitely the castle ruins and the Golden Ridge, I think is what the name of the level is called. It's the level immediately after the hotel. Maybe because I was finally free of the hotel, I was just like, yes, this is so much more relaxing. But I definitely like the Golden Ridge. But I like the rock bottom too. I mean, you know, I like every level except for the one, so you know, the thing is too, when I got the game, you know, I was like, I am spending $20. You know, I am like the cheapest person ever, you know.
Right.
I was like, I am spending $20 on a whim on an indie pixel platformer, which is like a a subgenre of video games that I have never really played that much. Like, that's not like a thing I kind of gravitate toward usually. So I'm like, what the hell am I doing spending $20 on a game that I know basically nothing about, in a genre that I don't really play? And I'm like, this is probably going to be like 2 hours long, and I'll have just blown $20. And no, it has like 8, 9 levels.
And they're big.
They're big. They're big 8, 9 levels. Every level has a B-side, and every level is that kind of, I don't want to say Metroidvania, but there's that whole idea of like backtracking and finding little hidden corridors and stuff.
There's definitely some looping that goes on. There's definitely some going to I can't remember which level it was, but there's one where it's just like, oh, I'm in a hub and there's 8 directions that I have to go to.
Was it like the ancient temple?
Yeah, that one. That's it.
Yeah. And yeah, there is that looping, and there's that exploratoriness, and there's a lot to do in this little game, and I was really dreading the fact that, like, oh my god, I am about to waste this money on this game that I will play for 5 minutes, and I'll be terrible at. What am I doing? And I am bad at Celeste, make no mistake. But, it's still fun, you know?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's really great. And I love...
And it's worth every penny.
I love that, like, you know, in the second level when you get, like, the pro tip loading screen where it's like, don't be ashamed of your death count, that means you're learning.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, a tear went down my eye, and I was like, oh, thanks, thank you, game.
Thank you, Celeste, because I'm really ashamed of my death count
But then I beat a level in 99 deaths, and I was like, yes!
Yes! So you can be proud of... You don't need to be ashamed of your death count, but you should be proud of your death count. You know what I mean?
It was under 100. I did it!
You did it!
A goal!
I know what I'm doing, kind of. Oh my god! What was your death count at the end? I guess we should just say it.
I think it was like 1,200.
Mine was like 1,800.
Yeah, you get once you get past the bad level, like it is relatively smoother sailing.
Yeah, I think the bad level accounted for like a third of all of my deaths in the game.
Oh yeah.
And then I spent another 200 some odd deaths on a B-side. You know, so like really not counting like, you know, the B-sides, it was more like 1,600 deaths. That's not so bad.
No, that's not bad.
Yeah, you know, it could be better, but it could be worse. I like that they give you multiple saves, by the way, so that I get why they do it. It's so you can like replay the game and check your death count versus like the first time you played and the second time you played.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a good idea, yeah.
Yeah, so next time what you do is you start a new game of Celeste and you fire it up and you beat it again and you go, oh, look at how much lower my death count is, and then you feel really good about yourself. See?
Yeah. And you improve, you learn.
Yeah, and you do learn. You get good at the twitchy.
Yeah, and, like, so Mr. Feel on Twitter made a point where he's like, if you can beat Celeste, you can do fighting game execution. Yeah.
And you just want me to play DBZ.
No, but I'm just saying, like, for the audience, he's right. He's totally right, because, like, eventually, like, I got to a point where, like, I realized, oh, it's muscle memory now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just perceiving and I'm letting my hands do this thing without thinking about it. I'm playing a fighting game. Right,
yeah, absolutely. I totally feel that. And you know, the learning aspect, the getting better and understanding, like the momentum parts, when the game kind of flings you across the screen, you start going, oh, well, I know what to do here. I know kind of how to handle this. And some of those mechanics do show up later parts in the game as well, and you kind of immediately know what to do. Celeste is really good at teaching you how to play without the old, Mega Man!
Yeah, without giving you, like, a tutorial at all. Like, it's really good at showing you, okay, here's the mechanic of this level. Here it is in a very simplified format, and it's just going to get harder and harder to do that as the level progresses. It's got a very...
I had actually like a really good moment of that on the Golden Ridge. After the hotel, okay, you know the gimmick for the Golden Ridge, right?
Yeah.
It's the blocks that, depending on how Madeline is like moving, the blocks will move a different direction, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was on the Golden Ridge, and I got to one screen, and I couldn't get through it, and I would ride the block over, and I kept dying, and I'm like, okay, well, like in the hotel, sometimes you have to change something in the level to make it passable. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll go explore more, and maybe I'll find a way to kind of navigate this, or I'll learn something to help me navigate this. So I go off in a different direction. And then I jump on another one of those blocks, and I can see that there's like a low-hanging little lip coming. And I was like, oh, cool, I'll just duck and we'll pass smoothly under it. Well, that was perfect conveyance there, because I ducked, and the block moved down, and instantly I went, oh, I got it. Like, just like that. I totally got the gimmick of the level. It was great.
Now, see, I discovered it in a different way, which is also good conveyance for people who play the game the way I do. Mm-hmm. Which is, I don't know if you do this, but if you're ever, like, do you have an elevator habit?
What's an elevator habit?
When you are playing a game and you are in an elevator, and it's loading a new environment, what do you do in an elevator?
I jump.
Yeah, you jump, or you crouch, or you attack.
Right.
Well, in Celeste, my elevator habit, which was when I'm just, like, waiting for, like, the timing to be right, I would down dash. Because you can just down dash into the ground over and over again.
Right.
And I discovered, I press down and the block, and I'm, like, waiting for the block to go across, And
it goes down.
And I'm like, oh. Now the gimmick makes sense.
And it's a good feeling, Like, Celeste is really good about that.
It's really good at not only introducing a bunch of really cool mechanics, like the blocks that only slide when you're dashing on them.
Yeah. Oh man.
The wind was, I think, one of my favorite ones.
On the Golden Ridge, when it's like pitching you across the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so stressful.
I like that, and and just stuff like that. It's really good at teaching you, here's the mechanic of this level. Mm-hmm. And, here are the ways you can utilize it to your advantage. Yeah.
And it does I don't know, it's so good at just teaching you things, just the littlest things, and every, that point in every level of Celeste where you go, like, oh, I've gone past, like, the beginner baby parts, and now I'm in, like, we've taught you the basics, now this is how you have to, like, really navigate this world space, is super good. I don't know, it's just so satisfying. The whole game is just, like, satisfaction after satisfaction.
Yeah, because you feel really good. You don't feel good for, like, accomplishing, like, the hard challenge, like you would in Super Meat Boy, or, like, in, or I Want to Be the Guy, where it's, like, I finally conquered this game. I have done it. Celeste, you feel good because you're learning, and you're adapting, and you're discovering the secret of this puzzle, rather than like, oh, I managed to get to the point where I have the exact perfect pixel timing. Because actually, when you think about it, Celeste is pretty fair.
Celeste is pretty fair.
It's got some pretty fair timing, and a lot of, like, the things where you have to, like, grab onto a ledge or something, there's a lot of leeway in them.
It gives you a lot of leeway, except for the hotel, obviously. And I texted you, I think the hitbox on the clouds on the Golden Ridge is the most bullshit thing I've ever had to deal with. But other than that, Celeste is pretty fair. And it doesn't ask, it just kind of asks you to, like, just be patient, you'll figure it out, and I love that. I don't know, it's a very encouraging game.
Now let's just get it out of the way so we can talk about the other good stuff. Let's talk about the level that's not fair and is not encouraging and does not ask you to take your time and to figure it out at your own pace. The hotel sucks.
The hotel sucks. It is, you got to the hotel before me.
It is the worst level in the game. It's
by far.
Its gimmick is not fun because it is the only time that asks you for timing that you can't control. Mm-hmm. Because the slime ghosts that go back and forth are on their own pace. And if you don't get the timing right the first jump, you won't get it right for every other jump.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's so infuriating because the timing for the first 2 or 3 jumps you make is not necessarily the same timing for the 4th.
Right.
So you can get halfway through and then die because you have nowhere else to go.
Mm-hmm. It's unfun.
The little feelies that turn into slime when you leave that platform also prevent you from taking your time and from, retreating if it's not right.
Right.
It's not fair. It's not encouraging, and it's the only time the game asks you to do this. When any other time, the timing is in your hands,
Yeah.
Yes, it'll ask you to make some jumps in midair or to grab onto a ledge before it falls, but you are the initiator for that, and you go when you're ready, when you've planned out your route.
Yeah, exactly.
It is so unfair, and the end with Oshiro is not...
Oh my god. Yeah. Both of us are just how do you even... the boss fight quotation. There are three boss fights?
Yeah, there's only 3. There's 3.
There's 3 boss fights in Celeste. I was trying to think, maybe the final part in the temple with Theo, but that's not really a boss
that's
fight.
Just a rush.
Challenge rush. Yeah. So, the fucking... Both of the 2 boss... The doppelganger boss fights are both awesome.
Oh my god. Okay,
oh my god.
We need to talk about that so that I can talk about how great the first fight against Battlein is.
Battlein? I can't be mad at you for that pun. That's great.
That's her official name.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I've just been calling her Mirror Madeline this whole time. Battlein! That's awesome! Oh my god. Oh, you've just blown my mind. Okay, quick. The Oshiro boss fight sucks. It's not fun. It moves too fast. He sucks. I don't like his design. I hate every part of the hotel.
Yeah, I don't like him as a character because he's the only supernatural entity that you encounter. And it's kind of this thing where you're set up early enough in the game that you're oh, I guess the gimmick is I'll encounter a individual per level, because you encounter the old lady, you encounter Theo, and then you encounter Oshiro. And it's right. Oh, I guess the gimmick is I'll encounter a friend and help them with their problems. Right. And then, no, Oshiro is just a ghost.
He's just a ghost with problems.
And that's it.
And yeah, I don't like any part of the hotel. No. I don't even like the music in the hotel that much.
No, I don't really like it either.
Maybe it's because I was in there for so goddamn long that the music was starting to drive me crazy after a while. I was if I have to hear this song one more time, I'm going to pitch this controller through a wall. Yeah, I think the hotel is the closest I've ever come to rage quitting the game. And I mean permanently rage quit.
Right.
I rage quit Celeste a lot, where I was just fuck this, and I turned it off and I went and watched something else. But I always went back to it. But with the hotel, it was the closest I've ever come to. I will never beat this game. I don't care anymore. I am leaving.
Oh yeah.
But no, I got through it. It
fortunately, the hotel is early enough that you still have a ton of game afterward to really enjoy and get back into that groove.
But it also overstays its welcome by 2 sections. You know what I mean? There's the okay, so you can kind of divide the hotel up into maybe 4 sections, where it's the bit immediately after you meet Oshiro, and that's a little puzzle section. The bit where you've got to clear out the different all the trash.
Yeah.
Okay, 4 sections. Yeah. So you clear out the trash, and then you're on your way to the presidential suite, right?
Yeah.
And then after the presidential suite is the boss fight. So that's what is that?
4 sections.
That's 4 sections. And the road to the presidential suite is too long.
Oh yeah. It is way too long.
it overstays its welcome by several screens, and every time I thought, I was like, that is the hardest thing I've ever had to do so far in this game. I can't wait to be done. But no, then there'd be another one immediately after, and it's like, I'm gonna kill myself, I swear. So it overstays its welcome. The Oshiro boss fight, I just hate the hotel. Hotel sucks.
It does. It's the worst level in the game. Once you get past it, the rest of the game is awesome, but, like, that level is awful.
It's awful. I don't like the music. I don't like the level design. I don't like any part of it. But I love the rest of it, and I love the 2 battle and boss fights.
Now, holy shit, that first battle and rush
oh my
is
God.
the best, because it tricks you in the best way possible, because at first you think, oh, I have to go, because she's chasing me. I don't have time to think. And then you die or you fumble a few times, and you realize, oh shit, this isn't a race, this is a ghost match.
Yeah, she's mirroring you.
She's delaying your movements, and you have to delay her that way and, like, not cross over your own path.
Yeah, it's so good.
And I'm like, oh, fuck, that's so good!
It's so good and so fun. And then there are parts of it where it is about, like, go, run, fast. And, like, after you've died a handful of times, of course, once you get, like, the motion down and the rhythm, you're just flying, because you're shooting through those sparkly block things. I don't know what they're called.
The little diamonds that give you your boost back?
Yeah, not the diamonds. The big chunks of wall that have, like, stars in them.
Oh yeah. The Cosmo blocks or whatever.
Yeah, the cosmic block thingies, and you fly through them, and then when it spits you out the other end, you've got your boost back. I love that gimmick. That's probably my favorite gimmick.
That one is my favorite. That one actually is my favorite. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Because it's, I don't know, like, with the sparkliness, it makes a really good sound effect.
Yes,
like that wobbling.
When you get the one that's just really, really long.
And you're just like, oh, it's so satisfying. It's like pulling a piece of plastic off a screen for the first time, you know what I mean? It's so satisfying. And, like, so there are parts of that race where you're just like, go, and you're just zipping through the cosmic blocks, and everything just, it's smooth, and you feel like, I'm good at this game, and then you die 10 more times, and you're like, I'm bad at this game, but it's fine, because you're having fun, and the music is fast, and, like, the pace is good, and you know, battling feels, like, really threatening, and yeah, man, it's great. Like, when it goes, you're just like, ooh, you're so on board with Celeste, you know what I mean?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
So
and
good.
then flipping that on the other end, when you are the one chasing her later on, and she's shooting lasers at you, and she's like trying to attack you and defend herself, and you can, like, just dash into her and jump on her head, and
oh, it's so good. And she's smashing through parts of the stage, and you're just, like, pursuing her relentlessly, and again it's fast, and because the golden feathers are another really, really good mechanic in this game.
Oh, those ones are so cool.
I know, they're cool, and you just feel like that flow is so natural, and they're paced perfectly, and you know, you're weaving through this, like, these maze structures, and just, yeah, it's great. It's so fun and so satisfying. Oh, I love it.
And then, of course, that leads to the best part, which is when you get the double dash.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, I wish I could take this into every level.
I'd be unstoppable. I actually did tool around with assist mode. Just to kind of see what it was, because people have been talking about how cool assist mode is. Like, if, you know, because, like, the devs for Celeste are like, we want this game to be as accessible to as many players as possible. And so that's what assist mode is. And so I went and I kind of tested it out. And that's what you can do. You can actually turn up the number of like dashes. You can turn on unlimited stamina, so you can always just permanently hang onto a wall. You can turn on invincibility if you want to. It's really cool. You know, I prefer to beat the game without it.
Right, of course.
But it is a really neat mechanic to kind of let people play at their own difficulty.
Right,
we were talking about that with Persona 4, actually, a long time ago. and I really like it. I think it's really smart. So you actually can take the double dash to the earlier levels if you wanted to kind of play around and test out now that you've actually beaten the game the way it was meant to be beaten.
I could do that. I might do that, actually.
You should. It's fun. And yeah, but once you actually get the double dash for the first time, it's just like this great feeling, and you just kind of like, I don't know, it makes you feel that much more unstoppable.
Yeah, it's the power up you get, and you feel so good about it also because of, how it came about,
Yeah.
Making peace. And so I want to talk about that real quick. Can we get, like, less indie games that are, like, really, really cute pixel games that are about depression?
Yeah.
Hey, indie game devs, we get it. We all got depression.
You're all sad. I know. We're all sad. Everybody is sad right now.
Everyone in our age group has depression.
But it's okay. No, Celeste handles it really well.
They do. They do a really good job of it, and and it's about making peace with yourself, and it's about understanding, the bad parts about your life and accepting it, and
it's part of Persona 4.
Yeah. It is.
I am the shadow of the true self.
Madeline is Madeline's shadow.
Absolutely. She's even got different colored eyes. Come on.
And this game also has Theo, who is the definitive millennial.
Of course, it's fine.
He's so millennial. His background is plaid. Okay, you know what I want to mention real quick. What I really loved about this game is that so this game has gorgeous pixel art, right? It's absolutely flawless. I love that all the character portraits and all the text bubbles are all are all drawn,
Yeah, no, it's really cute.
They aren't pixel too. Like all of the HUD elements are all cartoons.
Yeah. And they're really good cartoons.
Oh yeah,
that's a really weird thing to do, but they're just drawn super cute, and all of the little chapter complete title cards are adorable.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And yeah, the art style, just the styling of this game is so, like, simple and beautiful at all times, and I love it. But, like, yeah, it's about, like, depression. The mountain is not a metaphor. There is no subtext. There's just text. Like, I keep seeing people on, like YouTube and stuff. Like, I haven't watched any of the videos because they're all probably the exact same, like, ice cold take of like the stuff that Celeste wasn't telling you it's about. It's not subtext. That's just the text.
It's like Theo and Madeline have a whole conversation where she's like, yeah, I got depression and I'm climbing the mountain to find answers.
Yeah,
like she says it,
and he's like literally saying like, yeah, I have a lot of pressure on me, so I'm climbing the mountain to try and get away from it. Like,
there's a whole bit right in the middle of the game where it's the only scene where you can select dialogue options, and they they spell it out.
It's literally as if Theo and Madeline turned directly to the camera, looked the player in the eye, and said, "The mountain is a metaphor for depression," and then the game went back to being normal.
Like, what does Madeline represent? She tells you.
She actually just says it out loud.
She says what she is. She is the negative parts of Madeline's personality. She says it. There's no metaphor here.
It is all 100% just laid bare. There are no secrets to the stories of Celeste.
The game is hard enough so that it makes the analysis of the game easy for you.
We are gonna lay this out for you, just all out in the open, so the YouTubers can't run crazy with it. Shut the fuck up, Game Theories! Nobody asked you about your opinions about Celeste. The game is pretty fucking obvious about what it's about.
Now, is Theo Sans Undertale?
Theo is actually Sans Undertale, and so I have actually, now that they have announced Smash for the Switch, not only am I campaigning for Sans Undertale to be in Smash, but I am actually campaigning for a color palette for Sans Undertale that is Theo in Smash. You're welcome. I am the only person who wants this, but damn it, I'm going to demand it.
No, but, like, even, like, sometimes it is kind of nice to just have, like, an indie game that's, like, this ain't no Braid. You know?
No, there's no metaphor.
Yeah, the metaphor is this. It's a 4. There's no meta here.
There's no meta. It's just the 4. That's it. You don't have to worry about, am I secretly like the bad guy or something? No. You are a 19 to 20 something. I don't know how old Madeline is. I thought she was like 13, and then she mentioned that she drinks to cope, and I'm like, oh, so she's like,
she's a millennial. Girl. Yeah, she's like in her mid-20s.
Oh, okay. Well, she looks so small, you know?
Well, yeah, but so does everyone. Everyone is small in this game.
Theo actually looks like his age. I don't know. I was just confused.
Theo also is like 50% beard.
That's true. That is true. That actually does explain a lot. You were literally saying the other day that once you grow a beard, it just makes you look like an adult, and you can never shave it ever again.
That's for sure. But no, once you get the double jump and you are in like the last level, and you get it's the climb back up, it's the full descent or the full ascent where you have both. You know, you're getting back to where you were before you fell, and you know when you get past each like final trial of each level, you know, and Madeline and Badeline break apart and have a really cute conversation.
Yeah, it's nice. Super little heart to heart.
Yeah, it's really adorable. Every single one of them is super cute.
And it's all very like kind of Ghibli with the whole like them spinning around each other, like having conversations midair.
Yes, it's nice. Very Ghibli. And I do love that like the final level's gimmick is Badeline being your boost.
Yes. Oh man, the final level is great just because like after all of this, you know, you're being put through the meat grinder of the rest of Celeste, the final level isn't, like, it's hard, but it's not that hard.
It's both like a final exam and a victory lap at the same time, you know?
Yeah. Like, it's teaching you, it's expecting just enough of you, but not too much, you know?
Yeah, you're doing, like, you know, you're doing everything that you've been taught, but it's presented in a way that's not, like, ridiculously challenging, but, like, just challenging enough that you're still having a lot of fun with it.
Right, because for one, the devs don't want to spoil kind of the emotional catharsis of hitting the final area of the game, like the final like part before you hit the summit. So of course you don't want to get like too angry at the game and then kind of spoil that feeling of like, yeah, I'm about to do something big, you know? But it still kind of has to test you to be like, you mastered this, right?
Yeah, like it's still a final level, so it's obviously going to be challenging, but like by this point you feel confident enough in your skills that like it's challenging without being like condescendingly easy,
right?
And not being like a full victory lap, but still enough of like a thing where like you still feel that confident of like, I'm doing it, I'm getting to the end.
Yeah, and then so when you actually do hit the summit, you know, it's like, oh, I did it. Oh, how nice. You know?
Yeah.
You feel like you earned it. That's the most important part. Celeste is very much about making you feel like you earned that happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I will never go play those fucking B-sides ever.
Alright, let's... Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I played one B-side, and that was enough.
They're so hard.
I don't know who these B-sides are. I mean, I am old. I'm an old lady. I've made peace with this.
You and I are both past the age where our video game reflexes are at their peak.
It's true.
We can't get better. Like, it doesn't happen anymore.
Tragedy. It's a tragedy, but it happens when you get old. But like, so I don't know, these levels are clearly for a younger demographic than myself, because I just can't. I'm sorry, Celeste. I love you, but no.
They're for people who are into this exact kind of game, you know?
Right, yeah.
They're for the people that are really into Kaizo Mario and the hard Mario Maker levels and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know who the C sides are fucking for.
Wait, there are C-sides?
Yeah, there are C-sides, which are even
Go fuck
harder.
Yourself!
And that's where you get the golden strawberries.
Oh, fuck that.
And,
no, thank you.
Yeah, no way. No, thank you.
I'm getting angry just hearing the word C-side, because that's not how tapes work, you fucks. There's no such thing as a C-side, you assholes.
That'd be a weird cassette tape.
That's a fourth dimensional cassette tape. No, thank you. We don't allow 4D objects into this home. All right, we choose life. But I do love that the music is by a lot of the music is by In Love with a Ghost, who is a really, really good chill hop.
Yes,
producer.
I didn't know that until you told me that, and that's the fucking coolest.
I love that's a weird way to phrase that. I really enjoy the stylings of In Love with a Ghost. There we go.
Yes, there.
Because if you say I'm in love with, fuck it, never mind. Celeste is good.
It's really good.
The music is good. Everything about it is super, super good.
I love the pixel art in it. You know, we talked about that. We talked about like how encouraging and friendly this is as a game. Like, it's so mechanically tight. It feels so good to put in your hands. It is the perfect game to play on the Switch, which is where I played it. Like,
oh, I'm so jealous of you.
It's just like, oh, turn it on. It's there for me.
I'm so jealous of you because it's like you just play a handful of screens and then you can turn it right back off and go back to. I was trapped at the laundromat for like 2 hours the other day.
You couldn't
and
play
all
Celeste.
All I could think was, I want to be playing Celeste right now. Although thinking about it, I might also start screaming at a Switch in public.
Now, here's the problem though, which is I don't know what controller did you play it on?
A PS4.
Okay, so you plugged your controller in. Did you use the D-pad or the analog stick?
I use the analog stick, and but I'm really bad with D-pads in general. Like, me and D-pads don't really get along. I don't know why, because I think it's because I came up playing on an analog. Like, my first consoles were an N64, which had an analog stick, and when I got the PS1 as a kid, I got the version of the controller that came with a stick as well. So I'm really bad with the D-pad is the problem. Now,
here's the thing is, I had, because this is a game that requires, like, precise controlling with your directional inputs, and I discovered very quickly playing fighters that I cannot do quarter circles or diagonals reliably on an analog stick.
Yeah, neither can I. That's why my death count is so fucking high.
And that's why I had to switch to playing Fighter Z with the D-pad.
Mm-hmm.
The Switch has a very bad D-pad.
Oh, does it?
Which means a lot of my deaths were because I would fling myself in the wrong direction.
Okay, then. That's good to know. I have a bad problem with my analog stick, and I don't know if it's the PS4's analog stick. Like, maybe if I played it on, like, a Steam pad or something like that, I wouldn't be having this problem. I don't know. But, I swear I would be playing this game, and I would try to be doing, like, for example, an up left, like a
diagonal jump,
like an up diagonal jump, and it would send me either to the side, or when I was trying to do a straight to the side jump, it would send me diagonally.
Yeah, that's exactly my problem. Is I would have the analog stick pointed too far in one direction, and I wouldn't hit the diagonals or the whatever direction I needed to go in, especially the diagonals. I would screw us up all the time.
Yeah, I screw diagonals up a lot, and so I should be learning how to play it on a D-pad, but D-pads feel really unnatural to me. I don't know. I'm bad with the D-pad, which is a strange thing to have a problem with. But I feel like my left hand is for using the analog stick, and my right is for pressing buttons. And trying to press two sets of buttons at the same time, I start getting wires crossed, which is dumb. I know, but I can't explain it.
Well, if you didn't use an analog or a D-pad for, like, most of your life, then, yeah. I can't really think of any PlayStation games that use a D-pad for anything anymore.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And
even, like, all of my...
and there's literally only one N64 game that I know of that actually used the D-pad.
Mm-hmm, see? Like, I can... Like, just talking right now, I'm having a hard time thinking of a game that really required me to use a D-pad in a long time. I guess if I went back to playing 3DS games, I would use the D-pad, but that feels different, too. I can't explain it. Anyways, that's a dumb tangent to get on.
But the point is that, like, you know, aside from my own personal input problems, like, this game is super tight and super responsive, and
it is incredibly tight.
It's very satisfying when you get a strawberry and it makes a nice sound, and when you actually, like, not only getting the object, I love that you cannot just get the item, you have to land too. You have to get to a safe spot as well. That's brilliant to me. That's like, that adds that just little bit of extra challenge to the platforming part. Yeah,
it's an extra test. Like, the strawberries are there to test you. You don't have to get the strawberries. I don't even know what the strawberries accomplish.
The strawberries make a better pie at the end of the game.
Ah, I see. Okay.
So depending on how many you get, like, your friend... Like, you know, there is that warning where it says, like, the strawberries do not affect anything. They're only to impress your friends. They mean that in the game.
Oh, that's clever. You clever sons of bitches. Look at you thinking you're so smart. Fuck you guys. Okay. But yeah, you know, the strawberries are, you don't have to get them, but they are a good test of your ability to manipulate or to navigate through the game.
Not only to navigate through the game, but to navigate in, like, a unique way that's not like normally expected of you if you just play the game straight, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Like the little challenges that the strawberries you rewarded the strawberries with are like they're unique takes on the mechanics that you're learning.
Yeah. And if you devote to getting the strawberries, you will improve at the game. I went back and I played the first level, the city, and I got like all but 2 strawberries because I couldn't find all of them. So I need to go back to it. And by the end of it, I felt like I had improved at Celeste. You know, that's what the strawberries are there for. That's like saying, like, if you commit yourself to going after these, you will learn how to play this game better. And that's the sign of, like, a truly great platformer, I think. Is a game that patiently teaches you how to play it.
The ultimate like goal for like getting good at Celeste is to be able to play it without putting a lot of thought into it.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned earlier, it's all about like your skill at execution, and it's letting your instincts, your mind kind of take over, and just like letting your brain automatically process what the screen wants of you and how to do it right away.
Yeah. To go into it with like confidence, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's like the end goal of Celeste is, I do think, because I said, you know, you have 3 save slots, I think the end goal of Celeste is to teach you how to play it, so when you come back to it in a year, you can start a new save file, and you can go into it feeling confident that, like, oh, I know how to play this game still, because the game's control mechanics are so simple that even after, I feel like if you went back to it in a year, you would still be able to play it very well because of the way it is built.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You'd be able to pick up on it pretty quickly, like get back into the groove of things, I think. You know, a lot like any games like that where you involves a lot of execution, you know? Like, it's like going back to like to any game, any first-person shooter or platform or anything like that requires like a you know, the gameplay. Like, it's like riding a bike, you know? You pick it back up.
Yeah. And Celeste feels like it's trying to teach you to be like, when you come back to it later, you will understand how to play this game, and you will be able to fling yourself into it with more confidence and more just being able to run through it. It even comes with an included speedrun timer.
Which is super cool!
It's so cool. This is a game that knows what it's about. It's about like, it's like, we are going to teach you how to play this game so you can actually time yourself and see how much better you're getting at it.
Now, here's the coolest thing I think about the speedrun timer, which I learned this reading up on the game. If you die on the first screen of the game, of like the level, the timer starts over too.
Really?
Only on the first screen, cool. But, like, that's just, like, a little, like, extra cool thing of, like, you know, okay, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
You know,
that's actually really awesome.
Yeah, it's part of that, like, you know, kind of, like, encouraging you to keep getting better, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's willing to cut you breaks here and there to keep you from getting, like, too angry at it.
Yeah, that is awesome. Man, Celeste is so good.
Celeste is really, really good. It's kind of one of those games where, like, I feel like I'm going to be going back to it relatively soon, you know? And just kind of, like, keeping it on the back burner as, like, a time killer game, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I would really love to have it on the Switch. So that I could just take it to work and be like, oh, I've got lunch. I can play a handful of screens on Celeste and maybe actually beat a B-side someday.
And, like,
that's my goal. I'd like to beat at least one B-side.
Yeah, I would like that too. And, like, it also didn't help that since this is Indie Week, it didn't help that the Nindies came out today and they all look really good. Oh,
God, there's so many Nindies. Help me. Just because we've got, like, 10 minutes, I said we wanted to get this episode in under an hour. I am super excited about a ton of those Nindies. And I actually will probably before like the summer is up, I'll probably be getting a Switch.
Now, I mean, like, in your benefit, a lot of them aren't Switch exclusives or anything, but
yeah,
like, fuck.
A lot of those indie games that they introduced are conducive to the Switch. Salt and Sanctuary is one I really want to try out, and I say that even though I know I'm bad at Bloodborne and Dark Souls games.
The other one, what is the other? It's Hollow Knight, I think, is the other, like, 2D Dark Souls-ish game.
Hollow Knight? No, Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is really, really good. The little bug dude?
Yeah, that one.
Hollow Knight is, I keep referencing this guy on this podcast, I'm sorry, but Joe Anderson did a really good video about why Hollow Knight is fucking awesome, and you should go listen to it. And then there's Downfall, or no,
Downwell.
Downwell got announced. I've watched some gameplay vids of Downwell, and it's good. It's an interesting mechanic where you're falling, and it's kind of like an endless runner, except you're falling, and you have, like, guns and stuff to shoot away different things that are coming up at you. It's really, really good, and it's very simple. It's a black and white color palette with the occasional bit of red. Really, really cool. Just a lot of really good games got announced.
What else? West of Loathing, which I've seen very little of Kingdom of Loathing, but I love that aesthetic it has going.
Yeah.
That scribbly black and white pencil drawing.
They announced with the Nindies, they announced, like, it was 2 screenshots of games, and one screenshot I knew every single game on it, and the other I didn't know a single one of them, and I was just like, what the fuck, Nintendo?
The Messenger is one I want to take a look at. That is a Ninja Gaiden send-up, where you can press a button to switch between 8-bit and 16-bit.
Oh, shit.
Which I don't know what that does, like, mechanically, but that's really cool, and it looks
pretty cool.
Awesome. The final Shovel Knight DLC is coming out, finally.
Oh, God.
If you haven't played Shovel Knight, buy Shovel Knight.
I actually have never played Shovel Knight.
It is probably one of the best 2D platformers to ever exist, and the amount of heart and soul that Yacht Club poured into that game, you feel it in every single screen.
Okay, I guess I need to play it.
Fuck, I love Shovel Knight. It's on everything too.
It's okay, yeah. And Stardew Valley is out on the. I want to eventually play Stardew Valley someday. But
Stardew Valley looks so fun.
I feel like the problem is that, you know how, like, settlement building kind of ate my life for a year.
So what if it wasn't, like, post-apocalyptic? What if it was, like, actually, like, cute and fun?
What if they built, like, a whole game around settlement building? Yeah, that's kind of... I feel like it would ruin my life. You know? Like, Sarah, don't you have other games to play for the Gorge? No, it's just Stardew Valley
No, it's only Stardew Valley.
Yeah, so that feels dangerous.
What was the other one that looked really, really good? It was like, like The Post or, like, Mailman or something.
Something like that? The Postman? I think I know what you're talking about.
There was... Yeah. No, Garage. I'm thinking of Garage. That's right. Garage. There's like one word, yeah. Garage looks really fun. It's like a top-down shooter.
Oh, man.
Yeah, fuck, man. Indies
get a Switch.
Are back.
Yeah,
they never left, but they're back.
They never left, and fucking, it's kind of cool to see Nintendo go after the indie market like this.
Not only to do it, but to do it in, like, the best way. Like,
yeah, to go after it really hard and get a bunch of games that they know are good.
Like, I'm seeing this a lot of people are, like, looking at the Nindies, and then they're looking at Steam, and they're like, okay, Steam is shit for indie titles now.
Yeah,
and
unfortunately.
Curate your shit, Steam, and Xbox, and Sony.
But I know that Sony's is a little bit more curated than...
They are. They do a better job, but, like, really, it's like, Steam, curate your shit.
Steam and XBLA are both just a nightmare right now. Steam especially is just being taken over by shovelware,
By asset flip, Unity, cheap, like, or Unreal 4, just like, here's all the base assets from Unreal 4 in my horror first-person game.
Yeah.
With really bad muted voice acting.
And like, shitty music. Yeah, it's getting a little ridiculous right now, but whatever. Yeah. There's still plenty of amazing indie games out there to play.
And we have tons of them to talk about still.
Oh my god, we have too many indie games.
So, because this is a shorter one, we can probably just talk about the announcement real quick. Because not next week, but the next episode that goes up will be our April Fool's episode, which is we're kind of having a fun time with that. After that, we are again switching our formula up.
Whoops.
We're going to go from because we took a poll on Twitter and it was unanimous 100%.
Yeah.
We are going to switch gears from just video games to talking about just like a topic.
Yeah.
Movies, anime, TV shows, whatever.
Really, it's just an excuse for us to talk about anime and cartoons and stuff like that.
We've done like, we did a Hero Act episode, we've done a bunch of Steven Universe episodes, so we're just gonna like make it a thing.
Yeah, because anime is a bit more digestible. The problem was like going to twice a month was good for my sanity because it let me play video games at a more like normal pace, but only putting out 2 episodes a month felt kind of wrong, Yeah,
there wasn't like the output felt shallow and so this is just a good way to still give ourselves a break and not have to rush through 3 games a month. But also to keep putting out, content at a pace.
And because I really like talking, there's a lot of anime I want to talk about. We'll probably be talking about recreators.
Yep. That's coming up. We'll probably do another TPC episode.
Yikes. I really want to talk about Evangelion. That was something that a friend of ours on a chat room suggested. Shout out to Alfarius.
Yeah. Ava, Full Metal Alchemist we need to do. And so our formula is going to be, a game at the first week, a topic at the second week, and then indie week for our third week. We're going to keep that going because indie games are really easy to play and get through.
And they're cheap and they're digestible.
Yes,
and they're cheap. Thank God, because I went broke last year trying to play video games.
There were so many.
20 at 17 is I will be having like waking up in a cold sweat in 10 years from 20. Oh God, too many games at one time. No, it can't be done. So
that's our thing, and it's going to be really great for us and really great for the audience because you'll get to hear us talk about way more shit.
And it gives us an excuse. This podcast is like 90% an excuse to make me like interact with the media I like more. You know? Like it's a chance to talk about it.
This podcast is like our trigger. Like we are every week we pull the trigger on something we've been meaning to do, basically.
That's literally what this is. It's just like if we didn't have the podcast, I'd probably still be replaying the same 5 games over and over again. You know what I mean? I still do that every now and then, but this podcast makes me broaden my horizons. It's the equivalent of like reading new books for me. you know? And so I love it. I love adding anime and movies and cartoons and stuff like that to the lineup. I love adding indie games to the lineup because I have never really... This is, like, really the first time I've ever had, like, a chance to appreciate indie games like this. And it's been great so far, you know?
Yeah. We've had a bunch of bangers.
Bunch of bangers. Undertale was one of my favorite games I've ever played, and I can see Celeste kind of being this year's indie darling. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It's
definitely
sitting at, like, 98% on Metacritic.
Well, it deserves it.
It deserves
it. Fucking stellar game.
It's incredible. See, look at that. I brought the topic back around before we wrapped it up. I'm so fucking good at this.
We're like 60 episodes in. We better be good at it by now.
We also were 60 episodes in, and we're constantly changing the damn format. So we're still figuring this out.
So, now I gotta create another new intro for it.
We'll make it work. I guess I should probably think of a new logo. But I like our controller logo. Oh, well. I'll figure something out.
We'll work it out.
Anyways, hey, look, we came in at under an hour and a half. I'm proud of us.
We did it.
I would high-five you, but you're, like, several states away. So please just imagine me giving you a high-five right now.
Yeah. Thank you to Vistager for use of background music. You can find us on Twitter at The Gorge Podcast. You can email us stuff at thegorgepodcast@gmail.com. And now, for the next couple of 30 seconds or so, Sarah will tell you about her other podcast.
Hey, I'm in another podcast. It's a really radical live play RPG podcast called Big Gay Nerds, where me and a bunch of cool queer friends get together and we play different tabletop games. We actually, 2 hours ago, just wrapped up a Block of Spell, which is a RPG based on the mechanics of actually spelling out words. It was a Kickstarted game. You should go check it out. Google Spell the RPG. And it was a very successful Kickstarter. And Taylor Smith was cool enough to send us a demo version of the rules. If you want to come check us out, we are at SoundCloud at Big Gay Nerds. We're on Twitter and Tumblr at Big Gay Nerds. So yeah, thanks a lot.
Yay! So that'll do it for us.
This one's so easy. Fuck the hotel.
Fuck that hotel.
Fuck the hotel.
Fuck that level. Oh, okay, so I got the B-side for the final level.
Oh, really?
And I was like, I'm gonna do this one so I can at least say I accomplished a B level, and it'll be the hardest one. And then I got to the hotel segment of the B level, and I'm like,
no,
I
forgot. Yeah, fuck that shit.
Yep.
Good night, everyone.
All right. Good night, everyone.